So Amazon has finally seen another massive government movement, I guess, is the best way to say this, against them. As you guys probably know if you've been watching the channel and you've been keeping up with all these different types of videos, Amazon is one of 5 companies that the United States federal government has been kind of targeting in a lot of antitrust lawsuits that are apparently coming up. There's been a lot of congressional hearings about the potential damages and impacts that these companies have had on the American people and economy. It's been a pretty big story, man, but apparently now we're seeing this stretch outside of the American borders and become even more of a global issue. Now, I personally have been very vocal about the impacts that these massive tech companies have had on today's society and on the individual person, from privacy issues to the economy to how they've changed our way of life. I mean, it's absolutely incredible a lot of the things that these companies have done, the services they provide, the products that we have from them. It definitely is incredible, but at the same time, there is a quite massive downside, or I should say set of downsides that are largely ignored even by the government up until recently, and more so not even known of by the average American and the public at large. So Amazon is seeing themselves in a little bit of hot water here with the European Union, okay? So the EU is pretty powerful. It's one of the most powerful organizations on planet Earth. And it appears that European Union regulators have actually filed antitrust charges against Amazon. Now, some of the accusations that they've made against the giant company is of using data to gain what they call an unfair advantage over merchants using its platform. So to kind of, I guess, break this down into more layman's terms, essentially the issue really arises with the use of non-public business data to avoid what is known as the normal risks of competition by Amazon for their e-commerce services, particularly in France and Germany, which is actually the company's 2 biggest markets in the European Union. Now, this isn't anything new. As a matter of fact, the EU started looking into Amazon in 2018 and has been focusing on its dual role as a marketplace and a retailer. So essentially, the issue with that's being looked into, especially by the EU, is the fact that Amazon, they have their own products, but at the same time, they sell other people's products. And this is also kind of an issue that the US government has been looking into with their antitrust looks at the big 5 tech companies, but particularly Amazon here, is the fact that Amazon basically has this brand that they call Amazon Basics and things like that, which are their own brands of stuff that they make for your daily usage and whatnot. They make batteries and all kinds of different things, and they actually sell them at a much cheaper rate than the other products available. So you can usually get an Amazon Basics battery pack cheaper than you could from Duracell or Energizer, right? Now, you might be wondering, well, Optimus, what exactly is the big deal with them selling a product at a cheaper price than the competition? Well, the issue isn't that they're selling their products at a cheaper price. It's the fact that they also own the place in which these products are being sold. So not only is Amazon, they own basically the store that these other batteries are being sold at, but they have their own product, and they're basically being accused not only by the US government, but now also the EU of basically taking business data and using it to their own advantage. So possibly making sure that their products show up more often or show up in a better positioning to make sales, things like that. So third-party retailers have been allowed to sell their goods through Amazon, and as a matter of fact, last year alone, more than half of the items that were sold on Amazon were from third-party retailers. But even then, that's not enough to save Amazon from the hot seat because they are still in trouble. Now, the big thing with this antitrust charge is the potential penalties and things that can happen that can actually harm Amazon. Now, here in the United States, if they were found guilty of being a monopoly in any way or antitrust practices, not only could they be subject to some fines, but there's actually been a lot of talk of trying to break up the big 5 tech companies, which is Google, Facebook, Apple, Amazon, and Microsoft. So if it's severe enough, Amazon actually could end up getting broken up into other different companies and things like that, and basically making sure that their power over the consumer and the marketplace is dismantled so they don't become a monopoly, or to break apart their monopoly if it's already deemed to be one, which honestly, let's keep it $1.50. You could totally make the argument that Amazon has become a monopoly. But even in the EU, if they do actually get hit with this, right, they face a possible fine of up to 10% of its annual worldwide revenue, which could actually amount to billions of dollars. 10% of Amazon's worldwide revenue annually would be an absolutely massive blow to the company. It wouldn't destroy them, you know, it wouldn't be like the end of Amazon or anything crazy, but it definitely would be quite the jolt. It would definitely be quite a hard hit because, I mean, you take 10% of anything out of anything, that's a pretty significant portion in all reality. And when you're talking about the revenue of a company, that's when it's even more serious, you know what I'm saying? Because obviously companies need money to survive. Now, once again, you know, Amazon, they're not going to go out of business tomorrow because of this entire situation, but it definitely would be quite a shocking blow, and it definitely could hurt Amazon in the future. As like a big strategy that Amazon has had going pretty much since their inception is to take money, reinvest it, and try and grow their reach and their brand out even more, trying to, you know, control more things. Basically, instead of just raking in the money and celebrating, running off with it, they actually take that money and they try to push it back outwards, build new distribution centers, new fulfillment centers, new packaging places. They're even like going into like the grocery business even more recently. They're like launching a chain of grocery stores. I don't know if you guys have seen those Amazon stores that you can walk in and like it links your Amazon account somehow and you can just pick things up right off the shelf, and before you walk out of the store, it automatically like pays for it through Amazon. So you don't have to go through a cashier or wait in lines or anything like that. Honestly, it's pretty impressive technology. But it really all does kind of come back to the point where it's like, is Amazon really a monopoly, or are they on that route of becoming one? Because like, they definitely have a lot of control over all kinds of different things, man. So obviously Amazon is standing back against this, you know, that they're not just taking this one. They're trying to fight back. As a matter of fact, they rejected the accusations and said, quote, "We disagree with the preliminary assertions of the European Commission and will continue to make every effort to ensure it has an accurate understanding of the facts." Now, how this all works actually sounds kind of similar, I guess, to the congressional hearings that have been happening here in the United States over the last few months with these tech companies. As a matter of fact, under EU rules, the company can actually give a written statement to reply to the charges and then can present their case in an oral hearing. So basically, they'd go up against like a board selected by the EU in some way. They would get to make the argument that like, hey, you know, we're not actually doing anything bad. We're not actually a monopoly. We're doing the right thing here. You guys got this case all wrong. So that's a possibility, but if we keep it a $1.50 here, I really don't think that it's going to work. I mean, because like we're talking about a massive company that like it seems very obvious that they're doing something kind of shady, you know what I'm saying? Because companies, once they get that big, they're really not even competing with the little guy anymore. The only real competition that they have is realistically themselves. I mean, once your company makes so much money and you have so much control over the process of how you get your products and how you make your money, at the end of the day, like, you can just keep reinvesting to the point that you can control more and more of the market share. And that's exactly what Amazon's strategy has kind of been over time. And it's just now really getting to the point that it's paying off really well because the company is exploding in value and they're constantly doing really well in earnings reports and things like that. But at the end of the day, man, it really does start to kind of, you know, draw some attention. People start to notice things like that. I mean, when you got your own autonomous grocery stores popping up and when you got your Amazon Prime drones and trucks driving around everywhere, and Amazon has their web services and things like that, and they make the TVs and the entertainment devices and stuff that you use, your Fire Sticks, and you're renting movies and stuff through Prime Video. Like, you know, people start to notice like, hey, Amazon really does have a lot of control here, and maybe it's about time someone looks into that. And then what I would say, not surprising, you do end up looking into it and some somewhat shady shit's going on. Now, of course, Amazon is not the first company to ever do anything like this. They're not the first company to attempt to build a monopoly or to try and bully the competition in any way, but this is one in which world governments are finally kind of taking a look at it and saying, hey, we need to do something about this. Because Amazon really does have a lot of control over our daily lives. I mean, I just named so many different ways in which Amazon is constantly in your life, and like that probably isn't even really scratching the surface. There's probably a lot more behind the scenes that really are just building up to the point where Amazon has like a legitimate problem, you know what I'm saying? Where they're actually controlling too much stuff. We need to kind of take a look at it and see what's going on and see if there's any way to fix it. But I'm not sure Amazon really has any way out of this one. The EU has actually been kind of stepping up to big tech companies. And as a matter of fact, in previous years, they've even dropped like a series of multi-billion-dollar antitrust fines against Google. So the EU has been taking this as more of an issue, I would say, longer than the United States has. The US is kind of getting on board now with like the congressional hearings. But Amazon's definitely starting to, I guess, feel the heat when it comes down to what they've been doing. So with that being said, though, thank you guys for watching. If you did enjoy, make sure to leave a like. Subscribe if you're brand new around here on the channel. Follow me over on Twitter and Twitch at @SubToOptimus. Make sure to check out Shop Opti down below. Thank you to my channel members. Your support helps my channel tremendously. And until my next video, guys, this is Optimus. Well, watching Amazon get hit, and signing out.